What's going on, guys? We got another video here today on the AJ Plays channel. We have a very interesting debate today, which I personally think at this point everybody has the same kind of opinion, but I'm going to pretty much be going in depth here as to why. These are my 2022 MLW All-Star predictions after two series have been played. These may surprise you a little bit. I've seen a lot of people agree with me on these opinions. We're starting off here with the All-Star rules. So let's just go over. Each of the two leagues will send 7 All-Stars to the field. Each team needs at least one representative, therefore a maximum for one team can be 4. So, for example, I used in the National League, you got the Eastern Eagles, Downtown Diamondbacks, Great Lakes Gators, and Midwest Mallards. So you can have 4 Eagles, but that means you can only have maximum 4 because you need 3 others, and they all need to be from separate teams. So 1 Diamondback, 1 Gator, and 1 Mallard. Finally, managers are determined by the previous year's World Series matchup. These managers do not need to necessarily play in the All-Star game. Let's make that clear, considering the fact that we are about to get into something that might sound a little bit controversial to a lot of people who are yet to see some of these predictions that some of us have made. So we're going to kick it off here with the first player here, and this is going to be not only the manager for the National League side, due to him being the manager of last year's National League representative in the World Series. We have Downtown Diamondbacks pitcher, your manager, Jimmy Norp. This year, Jimmy Norp, as much as the Downtown Diamondbacks have not been so great, Jimmy Norp has been relatively consistent. At the plate, he's continued to maintain his average. 3 home runs, 9 RBIs, relatively decent, especially for a guy like Jimmy Norp, who we expected to, up his game this year. I think offensively, he's doing really well. On the pitching side, however, when you're going up against some of the best offenses in MLW, featuring guys like Kyle Schultz and Nick Saylor on the Wildcats, then Jordan Robles and Tommy Coughlin on the Midwest Mallards, it's kind of difficult to keep a low ERA. However, he is doing what he can to help his team win wiffle ball games. It's come to a point, though, where he is 1-5 in the National League. This is why I think that he is the lone representative for the Diamondbacks this year, because behind him, his team has struggled. Jimmy Norp is the representative and manager for the Downtown Diamondbacks as well as the National League this season. Next up, we have Chris Cheatham from the Great Lakes Gators. Okay, so you guys might see that little bit of a comedic picture in the corner for each of these guys. You know what? An element of comedy in my videos, because why not? I'll stop. Chris Cheatham, probably another one of the few bright spots on a struggling Gators team. They have a similar record to the Downtown Diamondbacks. However, the Gators just haven't been able to hit the ball at all. At least the Diamondbacks have been able to hit. Gators have been giving up a lot of runs and have struggled to even put the ball into play. With a record of 1-5, they are tied with the Diamondbacks for third. Chris Cheatham, however, 2 home runs and 5 RBIs, a .231 average, probably the best on the Gators right now, I would say. And I believe that, Chris Cheatham, if the team needs a representative, which they do, he is definitely the guy due to him having the best two-way game as well as probably the most consistent, not always the greatest, but most consistent player when you look at the Great Lakes Gators. So we have 5 spots to go, and next up we are looking at the Midwest Mallards. They are sending pitcher Jordan Robles, first overall pick, one of the best players in the nation for wiffle ball, to the All-Star game. He and Tommy Coughlin, these two are the main reasons that these guys have now launched right back onto the scene. They are currently 5-1, tied for first in the National League, with numbers such as a 1.84 ERA, 1.98 walks and hits per innings pitched, 29 strikeouts on the mound. He's got 4 home runs and 10 RBIs at the plate, a ridiculous on-base percentage and slugging percentage, as well as the .478 average. Jordan Robles, the stats speak enough. He is doing phenomenal in year 1 of MLW, and it is fairly obvious that he should be going to the All-Star game. TC3 is back this season, guys. Tommy Coughlin, the third outfielder, primarily at this point for the Midwest Mallards. His average might be slightly less than Jordan's, but he is still dominating on the field out there with 4 home runs and 14 RBIs, .421 average. His averages here for on-base percentage as well as slugging percentage, out of this world with the way he's been playing. Pitching, he's doing really, I'd say respectfully, as a second pitcher for the team. He's got a 3 ERA, 3 walks and hits per inning. From what he was doing last year, Tommy Coughlin has reinvented his game, and I think of all people, he is probably the comeback player of the year and deserves to go to the All-Star game. We have 3 spots left and have one more team left to cover. So yes, the Eastern Eagles will be getting 3 All-Stars this season. First one of them is Daniel Schultz. As usual, Daniel is just doing the phenomenal stuff that he always does. A 0.58 ERA on the mound. As usual, he is dominating the game. Doesn't matter what he's doing, doesn't matter who he's going against. Daniel Schultz, on a day where he is on and playing his best wiffle ball, he will dominate all the time. His average is a little bit down right now, but his pitching does make up for it because he is leading his team to a 5-1 record, tied for first with the Mallards in the National League. And with 1 home run and 3 RBIs, he will pick up as the season progresses. Maybe by the next series, he'll get a couple more hits, maybe another home run. The on-base percentage and slugging, it's a little bit down compared to the rest of the guys we've seen. However, I feel like Daniel Schultz, due to his pitching primarily, I gotta say, Daniel, as usual, the number 1 candidate for the Eastern Eagles to go to the All-Star game in 2022. Next up, we have the man who has shot out of nowhere this year, Dallas Allen. We gotta say, yes, he's probably a pitcher at this point for the Eagles because he has pitched 3 games, such as Daniel Schultz, like both of them have played 3 games. However, Allen's average is much better than Daniel Schultz's. With the average of 368, he's only got a home run and 4 RBIs, but he's definitely getting on base. His OBP and slugging percentage are definitely up there. And you can also see that with him on the mound, he has not given up a singular hit, thrown 3 no-hitters in 3 appearances in 10 innings. This guy should be a lock, if not one of the number 1 or 2 options for the All-Star game. I need to say it. Finally, Zach Whalen will be getting to an All-Star game. This man has been criminally underrated for several years, and for a guy who unfortunately, he doesn't know how to pitch that well, he is a more one-dimensional player, but I think as an outfielder for the Eastern Eagles, he is doing his job, and he already has 2 home runs and 5 RBIs on the year. He has a 400 average. He is keeping up with the league, something that we haven't seen him do. He's fallen off after a couple series. This year, after 2 series so far, 6 games, Zach Whalen is doing his job with this on-base percentage as well as slugging. I feel like Zach Whalen is a guy who, with this average as well as all these stats, and you know what, I think it's time for this man who has been criminally underrated for so many years, Zach Whalen, it is time for him to go to an all-star game. It is time for him to make an appearance. Now, this is where things get a little bit controversial. So, Kyle Schultz, unfortunately, this season, I have him displayed here because I want to specify. He will be the manager of the American League side. We're moving on to the American League now, but unfortunately, I don't think Kyle Schultz will play in the all-star game. With the way the rest of the competition has been playing, and so many other guys have been doing really well this year, I think this is Kyle Schultz. It might be his spot that he's going to lose here. With a 2.88 ERA, it's not like the best among the league, but it's serviceable, as well as, unfortunately, a 174 average. He's got to pick it up. Last year, he was batting at least like 450 halfway through the season at this point. This year, he's not doing the same, and this is what might be costing him of a all-star appearance this mid-July. So with that being said, I don't think Kyle Schultz is going to make the All-Star game. He will be the manager, but he will not be on the roster. Now, while we're on the topic of the Western Wildcats here, we got Nick Saylor. Now, you might see his pictures. They're relatively memeable because you know what? Nick Saylor's probably the most memeable player in all of MLW. I gotta say it. But anyways, you take a look at his stats. As usual, Nick Saylor hitting the ball both for contact and for power with a 333 average, as well as 3 home runs and 5 RBIs. On the mound, I don't use the win-loss record thing, but he is 3-0 when he's on the mound. He's got a 1 ERA, 9 innings pitched. He's doing really well for a guy who we never expected to be a sometimes elite caliber pitcher. I feel like he's doing really well in his role. The 1-2 punch of Kyle Schultz and Nick Saylor is really good, but right now Kyle's got to pick up the slack. Nick Saylor is the lone representative for the Western Wildcats as a player in the 2022 MLW All-Star Game. Next up, Brendan Baranowski. This guy came out of nowhere this year. We thought that the Cobras actually needed to find second pitching help. Brendan Baranowski has evolved into the ace for this team. Okay, he has 2 at-bats and I think he struck out in both of them. However, on the pitching side, this is single-handedly getting him into the All-Star game as a pitcher only. With a 84 ERA, 133 walks in his per inning, 37 Ks leading the league alongside Trevor Bonham. His team is 3-3, and this is primarily due to his efforts on the mound. When he is pitching, he is absolutely dominating, and this allows his team to win wiffle ball games. Brendan Baranowski should be another lock on the American League side for the All-Star game. We have one other Coastal Cobras nominee here, and that is Sean Flynn. Yes, Drew Davis will not be making the All-Star game due to his pitching being very lackluster in the one appearance he's had, as well as, unfortunately, him not exactly, hitting the ball that well. I think he's had like a pair of home runs. But Sean Flynn, again, like Zach Whalen, a guy who always is hitting the ball, a guy who's always getting on base, .304 average, 1 home run and 5 RBIs. He, I feel, is doing really well, and he's another one of these players who is criminally underrated year after year, and it is time for him to return to an All-Star game. Yes, this picture that's here on the right, it's legitimate. Like, that was on his Instagram, so I figured I gotta find something for Sean. We used that. Next up, the lone representative for the Metro Magic, Trevor Bonham. As much as Trevor Bonham's offense has not been his strongest suit, the entire Magic offense has been very lackluster this season, probably one of the worst, if not the worst, in all of MLW. What I will go ahead and say then, his pitching, as I said, he is leading the league along with Brendan Baranowski right now in strikeouts, 37 strikeouts. His recent appearance in the Cobra series, absolutely fantastic. He dominated in that series, I gotta say. He did really well on the mound. He locked in, and he was the reason that the Metro Magic have 2 wins. His pitching, like Brendan Baranowski, is the reason he will single-handedly get into the All-Star game. There's also another team this year who's going to have 3 nominees, and that is the Pacific Predators. Probably some of the most memeable picks that we're going to see today, so these should be good. Anyways, Ryan Kratch, pitcher. He has returned to his 2019 form. Ryan Kratch has figured out the issues with the speed limit, which was definitely limiting him last year and his success, and now he is back and doing what he is known to do. He, with 2 home runs, 5 RBIs, and a .281 average, and then on the pitching side of things, 92 ERA, that's it, it's right there, and then 28 strikeouts. He is limiting the walks, his hits, he is letting up some hits, but I feel like Ryan Kratch, though, is entirely reinventing his game, and this is what is helping the Pacific Predators return to dominance, as they are 4-2 right now and first in the American League. One of the most dominant, if not the most dominant team in the league. Going to continue on here, Alec Warda, outfielder, Pacific Predators, another guy who only has the offense right now, but the offense is what he is doing and doing well in. .304 average, 2 home runs and 8 RBIs. Again, the manager for the team that is currently leading the American League, and probably the most memeable picture on the right. That is just, I don't know where that came from, but that is excellent. With stellar offensive numbers right now, I gotta say, with the OBP and the slugging being the way it is, I gotta say altogether, Alec Warda, as usual, is another solid option, if not a lock, for the MLW All-Star game. This one must have been expected by practically everybody if you take a look at what he is doing this season. With 3 home runs on opening day and one of the biggest home runs we've ever seen anybody hit in Grand Slam fashion at Toledo Fifth Third Field. Brendan Russell, outfielder for the Pacific Predators, with a .316 average, 4 home runs, 9 RBIs. Absolutely incredible batting numbers this season so far. Brendan Russell, this guy, is almost guaranteed an All-Star appearance, and there is no way, in my opinion, that this guy doesn't make it. There is no way. With these first two series, he has provided a really good cushion for himself, and he should have a spot locked up in this All-Star game. And now I show you guys the final rosters. So from the National League, your manager, Downtown Diamondbacks, pitcher Jimmy Norp. From the Great Lakes Gators, pitcher Chris Cheatham. From the Midwest Mallards, pitcher Jordan Robles, and pitcher outfielder Tommy Coughlin III. From the Eastern Eagles, Daniel Schultz, pitcher, Dallas Allen, pitcher and outfielder, and Zach Whalen, outfielder. So that is your National League All-Star team for 2022, my opinion. From the American League, Kyle Schultz as a manager, Western Wildcats, but he will only be the manager. For the actual players, Western Wildcats, outfielder Nick Saylor. Coastal Cobras pitcher Brendan Baranowski, Cobras outfielder Sean Flynn, Metro Magic pitcher Trevor Bonham, and from the Pacific Predators, pitcher Ryan Kratch, and outfielders Alec Warda and Brendan Russell. These are right now, after 2 series, the ideal All-Star matchups that you are going to see in the coming weeks. These are the rosters that I fully anticipate to be the ones that we end up seeing on the diamond. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you guys liked it. Drop a like, subscribe. I don't know what you guys do with my videos anymore, but thank you guys so much. I will see you all next time. Peace out.